Let's call this meeting to order. This is the Plan Commission of the Village of Morton for Monday, July 24th, 2023. Can you call the roll, sir?
Guile.
Present.
Neff.
Here.
Ritterbusch.
Here.
Keach.
Here.
Zobrist.
Here.
Opperly.
Here.
Yordi.
Here.
Barton. Absent.
Very good. So, looking at the previous meeting's minutes, anybody have any issues with those? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve.
Make a motion, we approve the minutes as presented.
Second.
And second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Item 3 on the agenda, elect a vice chairman. So, the person who was the vice chairman has removed himself from the board, and so we need to elect a new vice chairman. The duties of the vice chairman are basically just to fill in for the chairman if the chairman cannot make the meeting. And a pretty easy gig. So, is there anybody who wants the job? I said before Bill Opperly entered the room that I would not be adjourning this meeting until we have one. I wanted to make sure he heard that too.
Thank you.
Speaking of Bill.
You know, I will accept that role. I'm a little worried about your vacation schedule. I've seen the tan. You're that same color in December, but yeah.
Don't worry.
Okay. I'll be calling you a lot more, but yeah.
Okay.
If you need somebody, I'll step up there.
So, I move that we have Bill Opperly as our vice chairman. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second? And how do we do this? Do we do it with a roll?
Pat, can we do a voice
You
vote?
can do a voice vote on it.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Thanks, Bill.
Thank you, Bill.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Bill.
I'll get here earlier next time.
Yeah. Okay, so tonight we have a public hearing, one public hearing with 2 items on it, and we will have Mr. McGrath read something to us about public hearings.
Thank you. Public hearings are being held tonight pursuant to published notice. Any person wishing to make comment to the Plan Commission regarding these matters will be afforded the opportunity to do so. Will give their testimony under oath or affirmation. At the conclusion of the public hearing, the Plan Commission will make its recommendation. The Plan Commission makes recommendations only. The Village Board is responsible for taking final action on these matters.
Okay, very good. So the first one on the agenda is petition number 23-04ZA. Subject property is located at 121 West Ashland Street. A petition has been filed requesting a zoning change from I-2 to B3. Is there anybody here who would speak to that today from the petitioner?
I will speak for that for the
Okay,
Village of Morton.
very good. Go right ahead, Mr. Marks.
So, if you recall, last month, I brought to the Plan Commission the preliminary and final plat that parceled this off from the southern part. So, at this point in time, the Village of Morton is proposing to rezone this to B3 to make the north parcel. You should have received this map. The north parcel addressed as 121 West Ashland to be B3, which we believe would exist nicely with all the B3 that is to the east and kind of south. And now that this parcel is just a little over 1 acre, it's a nice size for B3 parcel.
Okay, so the only piece that's being considered for that is the part with, on our map with the dash, is the parcel of interest. It says parcel of interest there, okay.
Yes, the
So-
yellow and green
okay.
dashed line.
All right,
Yes.
well, good.
That's part of the re-subdivision of the Jeff Memorial.
Yeah,
And most likely, the entrance and exit out of that would be directly across from the,
I think, well, typically, it would always, we would try to always line up with something across street, yes.
but we're not approving any kind of a site plan this
right.
No.
this evening. We're
No, it's
just
just to
approving the
rezone
zoning
this
change.
parcel.
Okay. So the other parcels right adjacent to that that are blue or I2 would still be I2?
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions for Mark? Brad Marks. Okay. Anybody from the public who would like to speak to this petition? Seeing none, let's, any discussion that we need to have amongst ourselves here on the Plan Commission? Hearing none,
I'll make a motion to approve zoning change to B3.
I'll second the motion.
okay, we have a first and a second. Roll call?
Neff,
Yes.
Guile,
Yes.
Ritterbusch,
Yes.
Opperling,
Yes.
Zobrist,
Yes.
Yordi,
Yes.
Keach,
Yes.
Groot.
Okay, second item on the public hearing is an ordinance making amendments to Title 10-10-4 of the Morton Municipal Code regarding resubmittal of denied requests for zoning relief. So we have a two-page document in our board packet here. Brad, would you like to give us an explanation of the purpose of this?
Yes, I think
Pretty
during
self-explanatory.
reviews- I'm sorry.
Pretty self-explanatory, I
Yeah,
guess.
during some of our review in our zoning ordinances, we had questions about, for example, if a special use or zoning amendment came to the planning commission, let's say the recommendation was to deny and then it was denied at the village board level. Really, our code allowed for somebody to come back even the following month with the exact same request. We felt like at that point in time, probably should go a little longer than that to allow, I don't think we want the situation of repeat requests that could possibly be every month. So this defines that or helps stop that. Pat, do you have anything you'd like to add to that?
Yeah, this type of provision is common in most zoning ordinances. We're kind of an outlier for not having some restriction on how quick you could come back and resubmit. In discussions internally, we felt like 18 months was a fair time period. Others have lesser time periods. Every community is a little different there, but this is a very common provision designed to avoid you guys being burdened with repeat requests from the same people without any change in circumstances.
Okay.
So if I understand what you're saying, other towns have this provision, although this is a little longer than the other. Do the others usually have 12 months or 6 months or?
The Tazewell County, for example, 6 months. That's the one I looked at in drafting this. I didn't survey around every place, but
And have we had a problem with this before? I don't recall having multiple instances coming up in front of the board.
we had, so one case which came back several times, I think before it was ultimately decided, was the Apostolic Christian Scylla on Jackson, where they came for approval to, and that might have been a variance case, but they came multiple times to get approval to have the driveway go out onto the side street, which might be Minnesota there.
Yep.
There's a bunch of attorneys that live
I know
there.
what you're talking about, yep.
So that case was it was a repeat request of essentially the same nature that came back a couple times. A couple other cases that I think have come back twice. Once was a variance on a shed size. I'm just going off my own memory. The village was a petitioner, requested a variance because the shed got built based on a permit that was too large. That got denied, and then that came back a month or two later.
So it says substantially different amendment, variance, or special use. So I'm just trying to think, like with the shed size, right? I mean, I could see a homeowner coming in and wanting a shed, and then you're explaining why that size is inappropriate, and they would want to come back with a different one. So what is substantially different?
Well, the reality is in drafting something like this, because it covers such a broad range of requested relief, you can't itemize in exact detail what is or is not similar enough for the prior request. So much discretion is placed on your zoning enforcement officer, on Brad, to make a determination of whether a matter is substantially different. Presumably if I'm asking for different use, for example, I came to a special use to allow X and I changed my plans and I want to do Y, that'd be a clear example. On if I came and asked for a request to do a shed bigger than what's allowed and I was told no, and then I came back and wanted a variance to have a bigger driveway or gazebo or something different, that would be distinguishable. If I had and without the code in front of me, I'm kind of doing my best on my feet without looking at exact language to say here's.
So would it be safe to say that if it came again for us 2 months in a row, staff has already determined that it's substantially different enough?
Correct.
We're not going to be deciding on this board if it's substantially different enough, I guess. In a way, we might be when we vote again.
Commissioner Knapp, just one of the things that really brought this to the forefront was recently we had this happen. If you remember the battery storage facility, we got contacted from them within a couple of weeks after being denied.
Okay.
And so we know that our staff themselves had put a great deal of work in this, plus having come to the commission and then to the village board as well. And so we looked at that and we said, whoa, man, this is right after being told no, and they're wanting to come right back and go after it again. And we didn't commit to them one way or the other, but that's when we started looking at our ordinances and do we have anything that allows or disallows that from happening?
Right.
And that really
Well, and in the case of the
triggered it.
battery storage, if I remember correctly, it was a pretty even vote, and there were multiple members unavailable to vote on that day, right? So I could see from the petitioner's point that they might think maybe if I had the full board and maybe if I clarified a few things, there would be a different result, potentially.
Yeah, I'll be honest, my opinion, I think it's a little long, 18 months. I mean, as we're trying to be pro-business here on that side of things, if it was denied, or if there was a request that was denied and we were able to the village was able to come to an agreement with a petitioner, but there was still a hardship where they needed a variance within a certain period of time, 3 or 6 months. 18 months is a long time between there. For me, I think there's a lot of things that can happen there that there could be an agreement that could be gotten to. So I don't know. I didn't know, like I said, Pat, I didn't know what the other municipalities have. It just at first glance seemed a little extreme for me.
You said Tazewell County is 6 months?
Correct.
That would seem more realistic to me, the 6 month. Just looking at this in first glance, 6 month in lieu of 18. I don't know what.
Yeah.
I think that's where you were getting at.
Yeah.
A shorter time frame. I think I would agree with that comment.
Okay. Anybody else?
Yeah, I would agree. I don't really like restricting property owners to that extreme. If they're willing to, and again, it puts it very subjectively in what is drastically different or whatever. So, but I feel like just to allow them to come back and.
Well, I think you've got the right idea by having it two-tiered. You don't want anybody to come back with the exact same petition, but if they make the change that you were asking them to make, and then they got to wait 18 months,
Well, and I would say that would fall under substantially different.
So-
In other words, if a petition, my thought is if a petition came through today, like let's use this one for example, the one we just went through, and it was given a recommendation to deny it, and then it was denied, and if nothing changed, let's say nothing changed in this scenario, at what point, what would be the reason the vote would change? That's my question. What would be the reason? If nothing has changed with this case, what would be the reason? What does the time frame matter as far as what, why would your vote
Right.
change? I would ask the commission that, if nothing has changed with the case.
Yeah, and I agree. In most cases, it wouldn't. The battery storage one, we were a very slim board at that moment. So that one, I could see that you might think it might just change because of the people that were unavailable that month. But
Brandon,
that's a very rare situation.
would you see a problem if the 18 got moved down to call it a 12-month or a 6-month period? Does that present?
I mean, personally, the way I see it, I feel like if it's been denied, I feel like there should be a change of something. That's how I feel. Because it's already been denied as it stands. So, to me, something needs to change.
And
with
if they
the
change it,
request.
they can come back in the next month.
Yes, they can come back the very next month
Right.
if something changes. But to bring the exact same request, and I don't, this isn't really a determination, but I've done the math, it costs around $1,000 to have this meeting tonight. And the petition cost is $175. So that's $825 to the taxpayers of the village of Morton to conduct this meeting. That's how it's subsidized. So I think it's fair to the taxpayers as well, that we don't allow something that has clearly been denied and nothing's changed.
So is that denial, is that at our level or at the board level?
Well, at the village board level,
Okay.
yes.
So, I suppose if somebody wanted to make a motion and with changing the time period, we could entertain that as a board. Or does that satisfy you, Bill, kind of for clarification? They're not, if they're going to come back with the exact same thing, they would have to wait 18 months. But if they make a change, it could become the next month.
Right. Well, I hear what Brad's saying. If that's the case, why are they allowed to bring it back at all? If it's been denied, if it's the exact same?
Oh, if it's 18 months later?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess the arrival of the 18 months, because you are correct. If it's been denied before, there's been no substantial change,
You'd have the potential of a new board, potentially.
Yeah, right.
Personnel could change.
How does the board feel about 12 months?
I could go along with 12 months.
I could too.
$18 just seems, it just seems,
Seems like it stretches to that quite a bit.
yeah.
And it's not from the decision, correct? It's from the first
Public hearing.
Public hearing. So it'd be from this public hearing, our public hearing, not the village.
Correct. So, that's your measuring date. The measuring stick is 12 months
Yep.
from the public hearing.
Okay. Well, do we have, first I'll ask formally, is there anybody from the audience who would like to weigh in on this? Seeing none. And I think we've had a good discussion on the board. Is there anybody who would care to make a motion on this proposed change?
I'll make a motion that we accept this with the change from 18 to 12 months.
Second.
In a second. Let's have a roll call.
Keach,
Yes.
Ritterbusch,
Yes.
Guile,
Yes.
Zobrist,
Yes.
Yordi,
Yes.
Opperly,
Yes.
Net,
No.
approved.
Okay. This ends this public hearing. Is there any other business this evening?
I have none.
Then we need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
There's a motion
Second.
and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you.